And one way of doing more and better is a newly emerging field of psychology, a field called positive psychology. Positive psychology isn't about what's wrong with you and how do we fix it. Positive psychology is about what's right with you and how do we promote it. What's right with you? What's right with you is your ability to love and be loved by others. It's your kindness. It's your gratitude. It's your strength, your courage, your bravery. It's about what contributes to your thriving and your flourishing. It's what makes life worth living. And of course, that includes your happiness. Well, one of the things that the research in positive psychology has shown us over the last 20 years is there's no one-size-fits-all model for happiness. What makes me happy is quite likely different from what makes you happy. And what makes you happy now is different from what made you happy 10 years ago or 20 years in the future. There's no single recipe that will increase your happiness at all times and for all people. But the other thing positive psychology's taught us is that happy people share one thing in common. They have strong, high-quality personal relationships. It's really difficult to find somebody who's happy, who doesn't have good personal friendships and or are engaged in a satisfying romantic relationship. So, who benefits from these personal relationships? Well, the literature and science is full of examples of how adults are happier if they have personal relationships. In our own work, we've looked at children, and we find that children are happy if they've got friendships and friends they see regularly. In fact, even imaginary friends help. Children with imaginary friends are happier. They laugh more, they smile more, they're happier. And it's not just people from the general population. We've also looked at people in vulnerable populations. For example, we've looked at people with acquired brain injury, people that have brain damage from a car accident or from a stroke. And they're not as happy. Well, not all of them. Some of them stay happy. And those that stay happy with brain injuries, those that are sort of buffered or immunized against the deficits or the problems of a brain injury, are those with high-quality social relationships. They protect them from unhappiness. We've looked at people with emotional processing disorders. One of them is alexithymia. Alexithymia is a disorder where people have difficulty identifying and communicating the emotions of their own and others. If you're on a date with somebody with alexithymia and you said, "How are you feeling?" They'd say, "I'm going to the store later today." And you go, "That doesn't seem quite right." So you say, "Well, no, I mean inside, how are you really feeling?" And they might say, "Well, I'm a little hungry." They don't get the emotional world and they're unhappy. And their unhappiness is explained in part by their poor social relationships. And we looked at psychopathy and happiness. Psychopaths are the Ted Bundys of society. They're not nice people. They manipulate, they cheat, they use others, they feel no remorse, they feel no empathy. They use people. And I thought maybe people that are psychopaths would be really happy. After all, they get what they want, and they don't feel badly about it in terms of using others. On the other hand, I thought maybe they're really unhappy. After all, they've got really poor social relationships that are characterized by manipulating others. Well, it turns out psychopaths are really unhappy, and their unhappiness is explained by their poor social relationships. So this is how we normally see it. We see that relationships, personal